Hi, I'm Vic Bearcroft, and today I'm going to show you my method for sketching a human face without all the confusion of all those lines and measurings and things like that. Using simple materials, a soft pencil 2B or more, a piece of sketching paper, an eraser and some paper towel. So rather than going for measurements to start with, this is going to be a female face, by the way. I usually start with a little bit of shading around the eye sockets. So put those in more or less the centre of the paper. Just use the side of the pencil just to get an approximate idea of where the eye sockets are, with the nose coming through the middle there. And the nose, obviously you can make that nose fairly long or fairly short, so we'll go somewhere in between. So that would be like the nasal cavity in the skull, something like that. And then around here, an idea of where the mouth is going to go. So just very loose, shadowy sketching to start with. So you can see already it's beginning to resemble a human face, because we can identify human faces in virtually everything. It's probably one of the things we're most used to seeing, actually. So from there, if we're happy with the proportions, then we can leave them. If not, you can erase them and start again fairly quickly. So from there, what I want to do is place the pupils and the coloured parts of the eye, the irises, so about in line with where the corners of the mouth are going to be, somewhere like that. So a little bit of cross-hatching. I'm still not trying to make them perfect circles at this stage. All I want to do is get a nice soft loose image of where things are going to go, and then I can tidy it up bit by bit. So if I'm happy with the eye placement, then I can concentrate on the few lines that you actually need to draw a human face. And the first of these is going to be for the eyes, so the upper eyelid. If we start in the corner of the eye and beginning with just some straight lines to get the angles right, and the same here, 1, 2 and 3. And again, these things, we should keep them simple because we may want to just make some adjustments a little bit later on, and we don't want to get too far down the road where we've drawn a lot of lines and then we'll have to rub them out. So having got that, then we'll put the nostrils in place. So around about here, this is virtually the tip of your nose. So we put the nostrils in place loosely either side of the tip of the nose, like so. And then finally the mouth. Now the mouth, all the expression really comes from the line between the top lip and the bottom lip. So if we start in the centre of the mouth, little V shape there to start us off, and then go either side again with another straight line, so we try and keep them even, and then from there we can alter the expression. So if we want a kind of half smile, just do a little turn up at the corners, and then that mouth line between top lip and bottom lip starts to give the expression. So happy with the proportions so far, and we can think about other details and more shading. First of all, eyebrows. So eyebrows, if you think about it, underneath the eyebrows you've really got two sort of oval shapes like this, which are the high points at the top of your eye socket. You don't have to draw these in, by the way, they're just for indication. And the eyebrows tend to follow the curve around the eye socket. So one line like so, another like so, and the third one coming down. So again, we can tidy this up in a short while. That's basically how your eyebrows will sit. Now let's think about additional shading. So the corners of the eyes, the inside corners of the eyes, are the deepest part, the furthest away from you. These are the high points, so they're usually highlighted, and then the side, outside corner of the eye, where they meet the side of the head, the temple, we tend to have a little shape like this, a triangle shape, which we again don't have to draw in, but just as long as we know it's there, we can begin to shade that in. So all this different shading gives us that underlying anatomical form, bone structure and things like that, and then we can begin to shade a little bit more in the inside corners of the eyes, where it's darkest, And just use the side of the pencil very softly for this. We'll smooth it out in a minute with a bit of kitchen paper. And finally, what we need to do is a little bit of shading underneath for the lower rim. I tend to leave a little gap for the highlight on the lower rim. If your light's coming from above, then you usually have a highlight on the lower rim which shows there's a little gap between the pupil, the iris and the lower rim. So let's begin to tidy things up a little bit. So we just tidy up the edges of the eyes, make them a little bit rounder, and so don't worry about any extra marks that are in there, we can get rid of those very shortly. So there are the eyes. Nostrils will just make a little bit deeper on the edges, like so. Remember, this is going to be our rounded tip part of the nose. So that means that below that curve we're going to have a slightly stronger shading. So shading around the nostrils and a little bit darker shading underneath that. And then to help us with lining things up, we've got the cleft between the lips, which is again a little soft indentation like that. The lips themselves, assuming the light's coming from the top, and the top lip faces downwards. So that's always going to give us more of a shadow. The bottom lip faces upwards, which gives us more of a highlight. So if we just define the shape of the bottom lip, you can make this any shape you want. You can make it narrow, make it wide, whatever you like. And then meeting with the chin, which is rounded upwards, that gives you a little sort of hourglass shade like that. And then we'll do the top lip, again working from the middle outwards, because all the lip is gathered in the middle when it's closed. And we get that little sort of V shape or heart shape top lip. And bring that down towards the corners, all very gentle. There's no lines around the lips. It's all just soft flesh, so there's no need to draw an outline all the way around. And then we'll concentrate on the eyes again. So upper eyelid is always going to be the darkest. Again, that's facing downwards away from the light, and it's also where you get the most concentration of eyelashes perhaps. So again, start to round things up a little bit. I make them a little bit heavier in the corners, and maybe just indicate a few eyelashes on the lower rim without actually having to draw them. The eyes themselves, you can put a reflection if you want to, or you make them pale eyes or dark eyes. For now, we can lift a highlight out or a reflection later. For now, I'm just going to shade them in sort of mid to dark grey. And just make sure they're fairly even. Okay, so other shading on top of that. Well, we have the brow. Now the brow is usually rounded, but you've got a deeper shadow between the eyes where the nose recedes. So we put a little shadow sort of following that curve of the eyebrows, like so. Eyebrows we can thicken up a little bit if we want to. So generally going upwards at that point and start to go across at the top of the eye socket and then down at the edges of the eye socket, and the same on the other side, up and across and down. Okay, so now we'll just make a little bit of softening with our kitchen paper. So the kitchen paper or paper towel, you see, is scrunched up like that, and you can use one sheet again and again. So the same sheet you can use over and over for different drawings. It's a lot cheaper than having to buy those paper blenders that you can get, and often a lot softer as well. So we start to soften the shading off before we lift anything out. So dark corners of the eyes first, inner part of the eyes, the indentation where the eyes meet the temple, either side of the head. Soften around the nostrils and nose. We can go back and sharpen the nostrils up later on, of course. And we'll make a slightly smaller point on that just to soften the lips. So top lip first, and shadow underneath the bottom lip, and then just a few vertical strokes to indicate the creases in the bottom lip. And we'll soften the eyes and upper eyelids, soften the eyelashes, and finally, just to make sure you have a nice clean bit so you don't want to add any pencil to this, finally we'll just make a nice soft shadow underneath the brow. So again, we can clean that up shortly. At this point you may want to put the outline of the face in. We don't want to draw too many lines, but even so we need to indicate there's a chin somewhere like that, and then a jaw. Again, you can make a narrow jawline, you can make a rounded jawline, whichever you prefer. But of course this technique applies to male portraits as well. So go for the cheekbones, even either side like that, and again just a straightish line down the jaw to meet the chin. Just make sure they're fairly even. We'll get rid of that line shortly. Ears, if you're going to have ears showing, then about here. We'll add a little bit of shading, assuming the light in this case is coming from top right, then we can shade underneath the cheekbone on this side and around the mouth and around the chin. So very light shading to start with, we'll increase the tone later on, and we'll have a little bit of shading around, darker shading around the jaw there. What I don't like to do is to leave a hard line from the jaw. I like to show it in terms of dark shade on one side, lighter tones on the other side, so we get a nice soft edge to it. So let's just blend that in with our paper towel. Soften the shadow around the cheeks, and around the chin, and then soften that darker shadow around the jawbone, into the neck. Soften all these other little shadows as well while we're at it. So again, you can see there's no need to draw an outline around the nose. The nose is indicated from those shadows. A little shadow down here, the side of the neck, if we put the side of the neck about there, and we can have a softer shadow on the right hand side, again, which will show the outline of the jaw, the cheek and the jawbone and the neck and so on. So before we go any further, let's just lift some bits out that we don't want. So I'm using a kneadable eraser, putty rubber. You can use a plastic eraser if that's all you've got, the same thing, but I find a kneadable eraser will leave less bits on the paper. So let's get rid of some pencil marks that we don't want, maybe the top of the eyebrows, maybe the whites of the eyes. Just lift it out. We can also round off the tip of the nose a little bit. You can use your kneadable eraser or your plastic eraser like a drawing tool, if you think about it, adding highlights and so on. Take a line which is an incorrect line. You can lift out highlights on the cheek, maybe a subtle highlight on the lower part of the jaw, just to lift it away. And then we'll start to add some other features and do some final details and shading. So hair, if we want to indicate some hair, you can put any hairstyle you want, and of course I'll just do a little bit longish hair coming down the side of the face. A little bit hanging over the face if you want to, any kind of hairstyle you want to put on there. Of course, if you're working from a photograph, then you'll have the appropriate hairstyle to work with. We won't bother shading the hair at this point. We'll look at that on another tutorial perhaps. So finally, check your tones, balance your tones, darker where you want them. On the left hand side there a little bit darker. Blend it in. just to soften this hair a little bit. That will give it a nice soft shadow beneath the hair onto the head. And then finish off some details, so the corners of the eyes and the upper eyelid eyelash line, make that a little bit darker. And then the eyes themselves, of course, they're important. So we'll make them fairly dark on this one. And then we can lift out the reflection with the eraser. So that's what we'll do now. Let's clean the corner of our plastic eraser. The light's coming from the top left, so we'll have a little reflection on that side and on that side. Make sure it's clean so it lifts out the pencil, doesn't add any more pencil to it, and then increase the shadow over the eye underneath the eyelid where it's shaded. Of course, if you try this, you can always add colour with coloured pencils or watercolour, whichever you prefer. You can ink over it with ballpoint pen or with artist ink pen, and you can even colour it in with artist coloured pens. You can sort of Japanese manga style if you want. So increase the shadow underneath the lower rims, into the corners, strengthen the nostrils, and we'll make the top look a little bit darker. And again, the line in the mouth. Remember, any time you can change the expression just by turning the corners of the mouth and a bit more shading underneath the bottom lip. So there we are, a simple method, quite an effective method of creating a human portrait, human face, without having to do lots and lots of measuring, drawing lots of grid lines and so on to balance things up. Using this method, just starting off with soft tonal shapes, means you can change things quickly. You can change the position of the eyes, you can change the position of the nose, longer or shorter, and you can continue to make these little changes as you work through, which is a great way of actually creating a portrait of a celebrity or someone you know, and you want to make these little changes bit by bit. Final little softening with the paper towel, and we're going to call that one finished. And thanks for watching. There'll be more basic drawing and in-depth tutorials coming soon. If you have a go at this, don't forget to show us the results on the Facebook page, which is coming up on the screen shortly. And looking forward to seeing you next time. We'll be doing a completely different subject.